Welcome back to The Unpopular Opinion Becoming Popular. My name is Yana the Heretic, and I'm here to discuss the current I Ching gate that is in transit, and it is called the Gate of Formulization. It's Gate 4, and the theme is Youthful Folly. So, those are kind of weird words, to be honest, to describe it, but I would consider it to be foolishness, or the Fool card in the tarot. And this one is going to be in transit the 11th through the 16th of August. And let's get into it. The first thing I do want to mention is that I have a totally healthy obsession with Thoth, the Egyptian god, the messenger. His history is pretty mysterious and mystical out of any other gods that I have read about in Egyptian mythology. It's kind of a hard thing to say because they're all really amazing, but specifically Thoth is the messenger. He is the scribe. And I consider him to be almost the scribe of the matrix of time, or he is time himself. So he created the calendar. He created the formula of the ages and what we really live by, because he's depicting the duality. He's depicting the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, and balancing these cosmic energies in the universe, and also writing down what is going on as the patterns in history, so we can look back and have an actual analytical or data graph or depiction of what's going on. So I like to say that he weaves the Akashic record, but it's almost as if he is the Akashic record, because in many, many stories in Egyptian philosophy, he birthed himself and had no mother, and became this bird that laid an egg, the ibis bird. And forgive me if I'm totally butchering these names, but he laid the egg of the cosmos, and the universe was created. And to me, this is this essence of divine timing, this, wait to respond, or wait for the right appropriate time to deliver this gift. And that's what I consider the Ajna to really be. Our Ajna center is our third eye. It is our pattern recognition, and where 4 lives, gate 4 lives in the Ajna center. It's, how we formulate our memory in time and space. So it's just the matrix of our own conditioning. And it's reaching out to the head center, gate 63. So if you look at the I Ching here, that is what it looks like. This is considered enveloping, and it is almost this like put a lid on it, sort of effect, or hide yourself before you say something ridiculous or dull or clouded. So it's the Fool, right? We would get the essence of that first spark and going into the world, our first direction that we take, and then we are greeted with either rejection or acceptance. And that is what gate 4 is all about. It's always wanting to answer the question, and a lot of the time it's not a question that's actually based off of any logic or meant to be taken seriously. So this is where the 63 really becomes skeptical, because they are the skeptics in life. And They can definitely deduce when something's bullshit, and gate 4 is all about, uh, and the understanding circuit, right? So we're trying to have an answer in order to understand what's actually going on in the universe. And a lot of the time, it's not like the right answer, and that's not the point. The point is to appear or to explain yourself. So this is different type of enveloping than the gate of retreat or the gate of standstill, which is 33 and 52. This is definitely being seen, going out into the world and being seen and bumping into things and doing things wrong. And, in a way, this does humiliate you. But I think the world can really use some fraction of humility, because we're not always going to be right. And that's like where laughter and like silliness comes from. Like the 4 just wants to release this Ajna pressure, so it has an answer, but it's not, something that you have to take very seriously most of the time. And even if you do, it's just trying to get to that essence of what is really going on. Maybe they do want to hear themselves talk. And we know everybody that considers themselves the life of the party, and they say things and you're like, wow, like I don't care about that at all. And for the most part, these people learn like, oh, well, my words hold no gravity, and hopefully they do learn that. So it's easy to become very constricted in the Ajna, and I talk a lot about how, certain memories that, we're conditioned into, whether by environment, bacteria, or, just family ties, friendship. Everyone conditions you in some way or another, where you form these cliches in your head. You're like, oh, okay, well, I bumped into this situation and responded, and I keep getting the same answer. I keep getting the same, appearing in the same place where I understand that the problem, or, the reaction is based off of me, and it starts to become a detriment in a lot of people's minds, where the PTSD doesn't let you really leave the house, or doesn't let you think differently. And this is why, going back into Thoth, I feel like these sacred returns of the cosmic bodies in our life really teach us how to shed a lot of these thoughts. Perhaps we were younger and we used to think more superficially, and we deduced this cliche, this person's definitely a nerd, or like men suck, or they always, cheat, or, women are always going to be too emotional, or, they're not going to like nerds. They're going to always want the dangerous guy, or, these cliches we put on the masculine and feminine that definitely changes over time. Even now we're seeing this change in our age entirely, and we're going to have completely different cliches based off of, like, and we already do have them based off of like the gender neutral, or, gay community, like lesbians, or, gay guys this, or we have certain names for certain types. And these things are natural, right? But we learn to soften our approach to to them limiting us, at least hopefully for most of us, because the fool has to play and learn that, you know, playing with ideas is actually fun most of the time. As long as you can get up and brush yourself off after being humiliated, then you have a really good center, because it shows that you can generally accept people no matter, what they say or do. Like, you're not going to be extremely judgmental. But that is what happens, right? Like, this is the guy at the bar that is like, hey, look at me, like, what's up, and then has nothing else to say, and you're like, what? Like, explain yourself, dude. And they just kind of like are like, and they say the shittiest pickup line in the universe, or they attract attention to themselves, and there's absolutely no punchline or no like depth to what they're saying. This is how, women just reject, right? And they're like, wow, this guy's got nothing going on, like, this is awkward, right? So this is on the cross of explanation. So if someone comes into your aura, you better explain, like, what are you doing here? What do you want? So it almost like requires this response. The Ajna is the pressure to respond, from a place of just releasing pressure. And this is a collective gate. So in a collective channel, the channel 63-4 is a channel of logic. And this is more so about how the collective feels. In Vedic astrology, they consider it to be, the Kali Yuga. And, there's a lot of people that believe that we could, move mountains with our mind if we were in a different age. It's because our collective all believe generally the same thing. Therefore, we can't really shift to those states, right? Unless we're around people that truly believe these monumental things can happen. Hurry up, but yeah, it's a collective understanding of people and the way to like kind of order and formalize, right? So the channel of logic is based off of the 63, which is the gate of doubt, before completion. So it is that natural scientific mind that wants to know and validate things, and they have a lot of doubt about how things are going to work. And gate 4 is about, just giving an answer in order to begin that formulization process. Maybe it's the wrong one, but at least we know it's wrong, so we can get it out of the way, right? It's like kid in the class that didn't read anything, and they get called on, and they're like saying the way wrong, like, answer out of thin air, and the teacher gets upset, right? And they're like, oh my god, you didn't like, read the context at all. But together they form the channel of logic, and this is logic that's meant to be for the collective. It's not meant to be for solving their own lives, because a lot of this doubt, specifically like gate 63, turned in on the 63s. Like, if you have internal doubt within yourself, it gets really ugly fast, because you start to be extremely depressed, or self-sabotage, or And the 4 can be considered a hypocrite because they're the ones that are always answering others people's questions, and they can't even solve their own problems, right? They don't look like the martyr that people expect. But it's not really meant for that, it's to release this pressure in order to eventually get to that completion and inspire people along the way, inspire the collective to think differently. That is the punch bowl of gate 4. Yeah. Let's see, what do we got for questions of the week? I don't think I missed anything. I tend to write a lot about these gates, so thanks for being patient with me. Questions of the week. At what time has your humility been a saving grace? Or made someone laugh so hard that they made liquid come out of their nose, or like noodles or something, When I think of the question, when has your humility been a saving grace, I think of the show The Ozarks, because like that actor, I don't know his name, but he always got himself out of like, really shitty situations, like near-death situations, and he figured out what was like that language that he needed to use very quickly in order for people not to like, kill him, basically. What planetary returns have taught you the most about yourself? How were you able to change the patterns in your life? So, we're talking about like the Saturn return, Uranus opposition, or your Chiron return, second Saturn return, whatever, is going on. Even your solar return after like a year on your birthday, like what does it really signify and what have you learned? Any of those apply to this? And if there's one I missed, sorry. Do you naturally answer questions at an instant, or does it take a while to formulate an answer? Does the pressure tend to overrule? So, when you look at yourself, you look at your design, you look at your astrology, you typically look at things that, you do naturally, your mechanics, right? You're mechanically attuned to doing things a certain way. But once you look at them, that's where the alchemy happens. So, you can definitely see yourself in that place of saying something or blurting something out that is an answer, but maybe you could use a little bit more time. Maybe your anxiety doesn't have to overrule you, and it's more about waiting to respond, to create that divine cosmic answer, or at least something that you're extremely proud of, right? How does the anxiety like get leveled? Because the I Ching, specifically, it was really cool to read the I Ching aspect, because it's like, if you're asking yourself the same question over and over again, or asking people the same question over and over again, like, you are going to muddy the water and you're halting this inner growth. You can wait and allow yourself to be gestating in this womb, this like safe place of inner growth before you assume something, because that can happen very easily, and you will be seen as a fool permanently for some people. What formulas have you created by accident from something ridiculous and silly, but something that the collective has found beneficial? So maybe you created a game, or you're a teacher and you have to get creative and silly, or you wanted people to have a good time, or embarrass themselves a little. There's tons of like card games that are all about that, just to get some of that humility out there and just release some of that pressure, because it really does bring the collective together. And it's just fun. It's just fun to laugh at one another sometimes, to kind of break up some of those like really rigid thoughts that we have about ourselves and others, because a lot of that can be healed with laughter, with games, with playing with ideas, yeah, and you got to start somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed Gate 4, the Gate of Formulization, and I will see you guys in the next transit. Thank you.